Hey everyone, it's Kevin with the Exponential Economy, where my co-host Mark and I try to bring insight into companies and concepts that we think will shape our futures. In today's video, I'll be talking about the company Blade, an urban air mobility business that just announced their IPO through a SPAC partnering. I'll give a high-level overview of the platform, we'll discuss some of the fundamentals, and we'll dive into some of the details about the founders and the company's financial outlooks. If you've used Blade services or if you're a UAM enthusiast like us, we'd love to hear your comments below. All right, so let's learn about Blade. Blade is an urban air mobility or UAM company that can be categorized into the industries of technology and aviation. Their focus is on short distance, cost-effective air transportation, which is currently offered through helicopter, seaplane, or jet in the Northeast and on the West Coast of the US, as well as in Miami. Their other focuses currently include Blade Metamobility, which is the largest transporter of human organs in the Northeast US. They also have international joint ventures with local partners in key overseas markets, in which they are focusing on technology, the customer experience, infrastructure design, and employee training that enables a scalable and consistent Blade experience. So air transportation can obviously be a huge time-saving alternative to ground transportation, especially in some of these extremely congested areas like New York City and LA. And Blade looks to really capture the attention of those customers that are willing and able to spend the extra dollars to skip the gridlock. And in addition to the time savings associated with air transport, the company really prides itself on its customer experience, with the company website stating, from the moment you book, you'll experience a level of precision, culture of accommodation, and an on-the-ground experience that is unmatched. Right, so this is how it currently works. Let's say you're a busy executive in Manhattan, you're finishing up your busy work week on a Friday, you're ready to get to your family and dog who are awaiting you at your second home in the Hamptons. So you open the Blade app, you book a seat on a scheduled helicopter flight, you head to the Blade Lounge. There are 4 in the Manhattan area. You sip a couple cocktails, you're welcomed onto your flight, more than likely early, and then you're landing in the East Hamptons in 37 minutes instead of the 2.5 to 3 hours on the road. That flight will cost you $795 per seat, but hey, how much is your time worth to you? Another service they offer is transportation between Blade lounges in Manhattan to other major metro airports like JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark. And this service is $195 per seat, and it includes ground transportation. And the total flight time to the airport is only 5 minutes, so you completely skip over any of the congestion in the city there. So note how I stated in the example that this is how it currently works. And I say that because Blade has big plans for the future. The more long-term goal of the company is to make urban air mobility more accessible to the masses by setting the groundwork now for the eventual adoption of eVTOLs, which are electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. They're also known as EVAs, or electric vertical aircraft. That's what they call them on their website. But most people call them eVTOLs. Compared to helicopters and airplanes, eVTOLs are quieter, they're less impactful on the environment, and they're ultimately a lot cheaper. And Blade says that these vehicles are currently being built out by the company's investors and partners. And they predict that by 2025, they'll be able to swap out the entire service stack from helicopters to eVTOLs. And also back to the note about these being better for the environment, that is something that the company is already taking a stance on. So on their webpage, they have committed that they will continue to purchase offsets to counteract the carbon emissions generated by their current services to remain carbon neutral as a company until the services have transitioned fully to carbon zero eVTOLs. So it's important to note that Blade differentiates themselves from other UAM and drone companies we've spoken about on this channel, like eHang and Lilium, and that they do not focus on building out the hard assets or the actual UAVs. They aim for an asset light model with a focus on the service layer of this type of transportation. So think flight schedules, terminals, booking, lounges, etc. They do not want to be locked into a certain type or size vehicle. They want to be able to pick and choose the different types of aircraft needed for each flight. So think of them like an Uber or Lyft of air mobility. And actually, on the website, it states that Blade Urban Air Mobility is an air charter broker and indirect air carrier, not a direct air carrier, and does not have operational authority or aircraft. All flights are operated by DOT FAA licensed direct air carriers. Also, a couple other notes about their operations that I caught in reading the details on their website. That the company asks for your weight when booking your flight so that they can help their operator monitor the total weight of each flight. They say that there is no defined weight limit per passenger, but there is an overall weight limit and distribution allocated on a per aircraft basis. So, if you're uncomfortable sharing your weight when booking a flight, then you should be aware of that. Also, there's only one 25-pound bag that can be brought with each passenger on these helicopter flights. And it brings up an interesting question about eVTOLs in the future. What will the capacity of eVTOLs be? And will we be able to, let's say, if we're booking a flight to the airport from an eVTOL, will we be able to bring our luggage? How will that look? So something to think about in the future. So with that, let's take a look at their founders and their investors. So the company was founded in early 2014 by Rob Wiesenthal and Steve Martocci. Wiesenthal is a 54-year-old American businessman who previously served as Sony America's CFO and the COO of Warner Music Corp. He is now the CEO of Blade. He co-founded Blade with Steve Martocci, who is a 39-year-old businessman who also co-founded GroupMe, as well as the music startup Splice. And he was listed on the Fortune's 40 under 40 list. All right, the company's headquarters is currently in New York City, and they have about 50 employees. So it was recently announced that Blade would be brought public through the SPAC Experience Investment Corp, which is ticker symbol EXPC, in the first half of 2021 at a valuation of $825 million. That announcement made a number of tech and financial headlines with early investors, including Airbus, David Geffen, Barry Diller, and Chamath Palihapitiya as well. Experience, the SPAC, is backed by KSL, which seems like a fitting partner for Blade. They own 17 FBOs, which are a fixed base operator, and they're basically small terminals or airports. And they also own the airport services group, Ross Aviation. So, you could see this really helping Blade by allowing access to these locations and the assets that they hold for staging areas, maintenance, charging stations. It'll help, they say, with lower repositioning costs at eVTOLs in really like key locations. The SPAC agreement really even caught the eye of Ark Investments, who made a number of share purchases in January of 2021 to add to their ARKQ autonomous tech and robotics ETF. And considering the focus of Blade, I could really imagine Ark's investment in this company shifting to ARKX when that fund goes live. But upon going public, the company's ticker symbol is planned to be BLDE. And the company states that the capital raised through early investment and an IPO will go to further building out the offered services, as well as heliports, landing zones, and Blade lounges. Blade claims to be designed for scalability and profitability. Their revenue was $33 million in 2019 with 10 scheduled flight routes. The company expects to have revenue of $402 million in 2024 with 28 routes. And then revenue is projected to scale up with the introduction of the eVTOL, which they predict to be in 2025 and bring annual revenue to $601 million. So to scale this out, the airports in New York City see about 140 million airport passengers annually, and Blade sees 3 to 5 million of these passengers as its serviceable market. The urban air mobility market is really expected to be strong within the next decade. It's estimated to be worth 125 billion by 2025 and 650 billion by 2030. And then international expansion is also seen as a driver for the company. The joint venture in India is on a royalty and profit sharing model, so it should continue to grow there. And though the company claims on their website that no company flies more people in and out of city centers than Blade, I'd say that it's pretty clear that this is currently a high-end service appealing to really wealthy customers. But that being said, though, the business model does seem to be strategically positioning Blade for more widespread adoption once eVTOLs really take off. And like we've talked about on this channel, you can really imagine the day when eVTOLs are prevalent in urban areas and are carrying customers not just to their second homes and to the airport just to skip traffic, but possibly out to dinner on a Friday night or even to family get-togethers on the weekend. Just push a button, wait for your air taxi to pick you up, and you're on your way. So yeah, this is a quick overview of Blade. We'd love to hear what you think. You think Blade will have success in scaling their business model? Who will win the air mobility battle and come out in the lead? And what will Blade's stock price do once it officially goes public? We'd love to hear them in your comments. Please leave them below and subscribe to the channel and check out our other videos. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay exponential.